Hello YouTube, it's Championdjk coming at you again with another weekly video. And as usual, I'm going to show you everything that has entered the collection, well, sort of this week. We are going to look at some mail I got from Japan actually like 2 weeks ago, and I just haven't shown it yet, so I will. We're finally getting to that. And then I got a couple of basic Hot Wheels and an M2. So first of all, this. So these are all the rage right now. This 40th anniversary AutoZone 2-pack. My local buddy Jeremy Bolter found me one of these to show in a video. So I'm going to open this up and we are going to take a look at it in the second segment of the video. Heavy Metal 164 has already shown this off, but this is the new square body Chevy casting from M2 Machines, and we're going to take a look at that. So it's interesting because all the diecast companies are making this now, because Auto World's coming out with theirs very, very shortly, and Greenlight, I guess, is coming out with one as well. But we will go ahead and we'll open this up and take a peek. All right, so there's that, and then basic Hot Wheels wise, I just got 4 of them. I mean, very late as usual to finding anything. These are L case, I believe. There's the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo, which is a new casting for 2019, and almost like a primer grayish color. It's a weird color. Then 2016 BMW M2 in white. Of course, one of my favorites, the Lamborghini Countach, but the police car version. Can't wait for that RLC piece to drop, where they're going to do the Lamborghini Countach with the scissor doors. Really excited for that one. That's really one of the only reasons why I got a membership this year, was specifically for that car. And then the Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo in red, which they've already put this out in white. This is the second color of it in red, so had to get that one. Was happy to finally find it. So no gassers. I don't have, I think my buddy Suresh has already found me some gassers already, so I will be getting that 55 Bel Air. I just want one of them. I want one of that 55 and I want one of that Nova Wagon gasser. So having one of each is fine with me. It's all I really need. Would like more to do customs with eventually if I ever get back into customizing, which, you know, hopefully I will sometime. Just life is busy. But just having one in the collection is okay. All right, so then I got some mail from Y2 Style. Okay, might as well just give it up. That is the eBay person that I've got a lot of my Kyosho from. I got 3 Kyosho from him, and he actually sent a little note along, which is pretty cool. He always sends a little origami along, so when you see origami in my videos, or if I ever show you it, that's, you know where I got it from. It just says, I like to watch your YouTube videos, from Yoji Kumasaka. So, hey, shout out to you, bud. Really, really cool. Posts really, really awesome Kyosho to his page. Mostly reasonably priced. A lot of them go off at auctions. But I picked up a few things here. This is like three or so weeks ago. We've got a Ford Mustang Mach 1, which this thing looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to get this thing out and roll it around. So we'll take a look at that, of course, in the next segment. And I'll pull out an Auto World Mach 1 too, just to compare to. And then a Porsche. This is the 936. Right there. Pretty cool car. Awesome race car. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that. Would have loved to have gotten it. I think that comes out in a Martini livery. That one's always a bit harder to get, a lot more expensive than this one usually. So I don't have that one, but I've got the plain white one, which is pretty cool. And then this is pretty cool. This is my first, I think this is my first Kyosho Honda. I'm pretty sure it is, because I think they only came out with one Honda collection, and I think this is it. Just Honda mini car collection right there. And the car I picked up was the Honda CRX from Kyosho in white. So of course we will be looking at these Kyosho up close and personal in the second half of this video, so stay tuned. And then from another, these are from Hobby Link Japan, and this is pretty neat. They send candy along with it, with a sticker on it that says, "Thank you for sharing your hobby life with us." Now, Hobby Link Japan doesn't just sell die-cast cars, and special shout out to Kyle Solar for alerting me to this website. They don't have a ton of die-casts on there, but what they do have is really, really cool, and they send along candy. So we got what appears to be some sort of fruit snacks, which I'm probably just going to eat these. I love fruit snacks. And then this has got to be fruit snacks too, but they sent along Japanese candy. So that's kind of a cool little ad. But the things that I got from them, where I got this Tomica Limited Vintage Ferrari. This is the one I was missing. This is the 246 GTS, the one that comes without the top on it. So these have already been shown, of course, in other videos. This is just the last one I needed. I had the other two. I got one from Travis. I didn't pre-order these from Japan Booster like I should have, but whatever. So I got the Ferrari F40 right away. It was the only one I ordered. I didn't order any of the other ones. And then I got one of these from a Heavy Metal 164. And then I got another one. Now this one, the one I was missing from Hobby Link Japan. So I will have all of the Ferraris, and I have all the three that have come out so far in Tomica Limited Vintage, and I have pre-orders out for all the rest of them that are coming out so far, at least the ones that have been announced so far. So I will be completing the Ferrari collection. The only one out of those that I'll be missing is the yellow F40, which sadly, I may never end up getting it just because the prices are pretty high on that one, and it's just, yeah. Anyway, I probably will never have it, but that's okay. I mean, I got all the red ones. I prefer red Ferraris anyway. It just would be really cool to have that F40 someday, and maybe someday I will end up with it. And then I got two Tomica premium cars, a Nissan Skyline Gtr and a Toyota Celica 2000 GT4. So these two, both in white. Both of them have opening doors. We'll take a peek at those in the second segment of the video as well. We're actually got, now that I'm thinking about it, when we get to that second segment, there's going to be a lot to look at in detail. And then I got one other TLV. This was actually the first thing. I just was a trial order. This was really cheap on the website, and I decided to go ahead and pick it up. It's LVN 125. It is in a Zuzu Gemini patio. Why did I pick this car out? I don't really know. It's an odd little car. The cool thing though is I think what I was drawn to is the fact that it's this weird, it's pale like yellow, and it's just kind of an interesting color yellow. It's not like a bright yellow that you'd see in most diecast or whatever. It's like this palish, almost like sun bleached yellow is what it kind of looks like. We'll take a look at that in the of course in the second segment. And then a Tomica Basic. I don't normally go for any of these Tomica Basics. They're very inexpensive on this Hobby Link Japan site. They're not very expensive at all, but they and typically I don't really dig them because they're not that detailed, and they kind of like scale wise they're off. They're not like you'd expect, from Tomica Limited Vintage. They're like 1/62 scale, which kind of like the Tomica Premium is. So they're not like 1/64 scale, at least not true 1/64 scale, and they're very basic. The wheels are very basic, but this one's still wrapped in cellophane, so I haven't even looked at it. We'll go ahead and take a look at it in the second segment. So we actually got quite a bit to look at in the next half of this video. One thing I did want to bring up, if you're still watching, I may change the format of these videos. Let me know. Do you guys think that these are getting a little bit stale? Be honest, okay? It's typical format right now is I show you what I got, I flip the camera around, and I show you what I got in detail, at least some of the stuff in detail that I'm going to open up at that moment. What I could do to change things a little bit is maybe still keep a Diecast weekly episode, but just show you basically everything that I got, and then leave it at that, and then we're done. Like this would be the end of the video right now at approximately 10 minutes. Then what I could do is film shorter videos featuring certain cars that I had picked up that week and release them gradually throughout the week. One thing it would do for me is I would have a video basically that's coming out nearly every day, because I could film them all in one day and I could just kind of release them gradually throughout the week. It'd be a little bit more work on my end, but it'd be a little bit more beneficial to me as far as the monetization for my channel goes, to be completely honest. And maybe it'd be more beneficial for you as a viewer, because you wouldn't have to fast forward to see a car that you wanted. You could just watch, a particular video that you wanted of a car that I was going to feature. Does that make sense? So I've been thinking about that, and thinking about what I'm going to do for that. And that might end up happening regardless of the feedback I get. We'll see what happens. So that being said, also Matchbox Monday, those episodes are going to run their course here sometime soon too. So that will be a video that will be delete from the channel. So I won't be featuring that, And then I still got 10 Car Tuesday to do. So, we'll still do videos like that, 10 Car Tuesday episodes and all that stuff. But it might be better for me to break up this Diecast weekly video. Instead of having like a 40-minute video, and I know now I'm rambling on, so it's going to be long, having a 10-minute video where I kind of just show you everything I got for the week, talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the Diecast world, and then shoot short segments or shorter videos on certain cars, So, something to think about. So, all right. So anyway, let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. I would appreciate it. I would definitely appreciate it. So that's going to be it for this episode. Or I could just keep everything the same. I could just keep it all the same. Just keep on going. It's nice to have one long episode sometimes. Some people like to put on an episode and just let it play. Even though they're not watching it, they listen to it in the background. I understand that. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's flip this camera around. Let's take a look at all this pretty sweet cars here in the second segment, so stay tuned. All right, let's start by taking a quick look at these 4 Hot Wheels before we start screwing around. A lot of the other stuff we're going to take out involves some screws, and we're going to have to take our time with that stuff. I do still like just opening that stuff on camera, because then you get my natural reaction to pulling it out of the package. But this stuff, you got your basic Hot Wheels, and yes, these are nice. This car is just awesome. This is definitely going to be probably my new casting of the year for Hot Wheels for sure, of 2019. I've always loved the look of this car, and I just really, really love it. And I think that they did a really excellent job with it. Making the headlights part of the windshield piece was a good call on this one. And of course, just having it in a nice basic color with some taillight detail and some headlight detail, you just can't go wrong. Countach, you guys know I dig Lambos. Countach is like my fave, so can't go wrong with this either, even though it is a weird police livery, unlicensed police livery, and the casting does look kind of weird with the light bar, but it still is really, really cool. This BMW, I don't know, this one doesn't really excite me at all, but and kind of disappointing. It's got a stripe on each side, which means you get rid of this front detail. You do have the BMW emblem up here, but a BMW without at least a front grille detail, like Tampa-wise, that just definitely looks like something is missing, and you miss that from a Beamer. They've got a distinctive look in the front end, and without that, it just looks kind of unfortunate. And then another new model for 2019, you got this Porsche Panamera, like hybrid dealy thingy. What is it? Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo. Again, we get some detail up front. There's part of the windows, so you got some headlight detail. I really like when Hot Wheels does that. They make the most of the tooling when they do that. And for stuff that has headlights of this style or like that, it's just it's a really good call doing that. So the basic, it's got detail sort of where we want it here. You've got taillights, and you've got Porsche emblem up front, and it's not a bad looking Porsche. So there's that one. Kind of plain Jane though. but whatever. All right, so next, let's take a quick look at this AutoZone 40th anniversary before we get into our premium import diecast. This is the 40 years Customer Appreciation AutoZone 2-pack 40 years special edition. And how special indeed. The 1979 Chevy Scottsdale truck stock in orange and white, and the 79 Scottsdale truck custom in black and white. The special edition is made specifically for AutoZone. So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. So it's got the classic M2 seal here, sticker. And we're going to go ahead and open it up. If you're familiar with auto lifts, they are kind of cool that they do come with this like lift, which this lift you actually can remove from the base and maybe use it in a diorama as such. It's got like these little movable ramp thingies. It'd be cool if it lifted up and down, but it doesn't. It's a solid piece of die cast. But it is really neat. We're going to go ahead and get the trucks off of the base. And I actually might have to pause for this because M2, man, the screws are always in here like they've been torqued. And it's a lot of times it is sometimes like really difficult to actually get the truck off of the base without stripping the screw. So there you go, there's that. This one's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to have to take 4 screws out of the bottom here to get this lift off, and then I will have to get the car off the lift. So I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, so the lift is separated from the truck, so the trucks are separated from the base. All right, so let's take a look at these. Very similar stance to the Hot Wheels casting that we all kind of know and love, and they look pretty good. My initial impression is they definitely look pretty good. There are some quality concerns right off the bat with this orange one. They have lens detail for the taillights. They are pretty sloppy. They're pretty rough around the edges. They were glued in pretty rough. And not that great there. And then the headlights, we've got one wonky eye here. Yeah, right up there. Not much you can do about that. It's just wonky. Does the hood open on these? Yeah, it does. The hood opens. The detail in here isn't great. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not a huge fan of AutoWorld. I am a huge fan of AutoWorld because I'm not a huge fan of M2, but the detail inside there just isn't great. It'll be interesting to see how the AutoWorld one looks compared to this. The hood does shut well. Of course, this casting is screwed together, so there's a lot of things that if there were stuff wrong, you'd be able to fix it. I do like the wheels on this one. I think they look pretty good. And overall, it looks okay. Now, what I wanted to explore with this is the possibility of taking some LEDs and adding headlights to this casting, like I've done with some Silverados in the past. And now that I've got this like out, I don't think that's going to be an easy task to do. Because basically this grill piece goes in and it's solid metal behind it, and it doesn't look like it really goes all the way through to the back side of the casting. I'd have to take it apart to explore it. If I do decide to do that actually, and I do take it apart, I will document the process and I will feature it on this channel. This one does roll pretty good. So the only real major issue on this one is that eyeball there popping out. So that's a little goofed. But other than that, the truck looks pretty good, except for the AutoZone logo and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of AutoZone. Well, AutoZone's okay. I'm just not a huge fan of them. And orange and black looks, I guess, okay. Headlights on this one look great. Grill looks great on the black one. The wheels on the black one, I could do without these. They're kind of goofy. Almost like a hard plastic. Big fat meats in the back and skinnies up front. I mean, it looks okay. I think it could use a wheel swap though, for sure. And it's not that much lower than this one is. And trying to look at the base to see how they did that. I'm not really sure how they did the front part. I think it's just a thinner tire. The back part is definitely a different insert back there. See that one? And then see that one. So it's a different inserted piece that they go back in here to lower it. And I don't know. It looks okay. This one also has a super tinted front windshield. And back. And I don't know. They're cool, I guess. I'm not as excited as when I first saw them to get them. Now that I have them in my hands, I mean, as far as M2 goes, they're not bad. But I think I'm gonna rather see these next to the Auto World and kind of see how that's gonna work out, how that will go. Let's take a look at a Tomica Basic real quick. Pop one of these out. Yep, spending time opening packages. Well, let's open enough. Let's get it out. And then it's in a little baggie. In here yet. And this actually looks pretty good in the baggie. Alright. There it is. Basic Tomica. Now, I would love to see some Tomica Limited vintage Lambos. That I would definitely not be opposed to. Actually, now that I see this in person for a basic car, this looks great. You get headlights. You get this like matte finish orange. You get kind of like this inserted thing for the tail light situation. And painted headlights. Is this just painted back here? Yeah, it is just painted. It looks really good though, being just painted. The wheels are kind of the throw off for me on these basic Tomicas. I'm not a huge fan of the wheels. If they put some different wheels on these cars, I think a lot more people would probably be into them. But this is a really nice basic Lambo. I'm glad I picked this one up. I think it was like $2 or $2.50 or something like that. Not expensive, and for what you get, that's worth it. I think that's pretty good looking. That's surprisingly very, very good looking. Next, let's take a look at, we're going up in the world here with Tomica Premium. I've already opened and peeked at these. This first one is the Toyota Celica 2000 GT4. And here it is. Now, these are pretty cool. The Premium Tomica generally is going to have plastic tires, but they're going to be like prototypical wheel style plastic tires. A lot of times they will have inserts for taillights and headlights if necessary. This one doesn't because they're kind of painted and it's a pop-up headlight situation. And then they'll have a plastic base in general. The wheels will be plastic, but they will be pretty cool wheels, and it will have some suspension to it, which is awesome. And then they also typically have some sort of moving feature or opening feature. And this one's got doors, which sometimes I'm not a huge fan of, but when it's on these Tomicas, they do it right. The doors shut correctly. The gaps in the doors don't look too bad. And this is just kind of a pretty cool looking little car. Now, it's not true to 1/64 scale. That may throw some people off from getting any of these, but I think it's a really nice diecast replica car. And I've got a few of these Tomica Premiums and haven't really been disappointed by any of them. And they're not very expensive either. So, pretty cool car. Let me know what you guys think about that one. And then the other one I got was the Nissan Skyline Gtr. Pull that one out. This one looks pretty decent too. The other thing with these two is they feel very substantially heavy, and it's not. And they have a plastic base, so for them to feel that heavy with a plastic base, you know that the metal that they're made out of probably is a pretty high quality. because it is got some definite weight to it. So here's this one. Yeah, the gap on the door does look a little bigger on this one. It's a lot more noticeable, I guess. But again, you do get lens detail up front for the headlights. You get some painted taillights. I don't think that's a lens detail at all. So yeah, painted taillights, and then you get opening doors. Kind of a two-tone interior in there. The doors open and shut really well. You get that suspension, and then of course a plastic base with plastic tires. These things roll fantastically well, though, as well, if you care about that. The spoiler up here is plastic, too. I don't know. That's a good-looking car. I'm not going to say it isn't, because it's definitely a good-looking car. So those are pretty cool. And again, that's entry-level stuff for Tomica. Then we got the Tomica Limited Vintage Neo. We'll start with this weird little Isuzu. I'm pretty sure this is the only Isuzu in my collection. And it's little. And these are 1/64 scale. We know that Tomica Limited Vintage does not mess around with that. It says they're 1/64 scale. They are 1/64 scale, to the point where they're obsessive enough about it to get an actual car in the design studio to actually do the design for the vehicle. And in typical and modern Tomica Limited Vintage fashion, it does have a metal base. It's painted. Metal base, metal body. It's got lens details for the headlights. It's got lensed inserts for the taillights, and it has rubber tires, of course, and it also has suspension. No moving parts on these. Some of them do have moving parts. This one doesn't. This one doesn't have. Some of them also come with little extra parts that you have the option of gluing on yourself. This one does not. It came with the mirrors intact. And it's a very nice little weird little model. I don't know why I was so attracted to this one. Like I said, it's got a weird pale looking yellow color, which you just don't see on Diecast. And I just thought this would be a nice little add to my Tomica Limited Vintage collection. So let me know what you think about this weird little car. I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that Tomica Limited Vintage puts out, and you just kind of get it, and it's not that exciting, and then you get it in your hands, and I'm like, wow, this actually is a really awesome little replica car, even though the car may seem to be quite boring. I kind of like this boxy style of cars from like the 80s and early 90s or whatever. Probably, yeah, mostly 80s, late 80s. This boxy style of cars where they're just, angular. There's no curves to it at all. I don't know. This is just a cool little car. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. All right, so Tomica Limited Vintage. We got one more Tomica Limited Vintage, and of course this Ferrari. And as you can see right here, it's got extra parts you can put on those mirrors should you choose, and the top should you choose. I'm not going to do either because I'm just not going to monkey around with that. The packaging for these, by the way, looks like a high quality bottle of cologne, maybe, is the kind of packaging that you get here, with some really nice foil printing, matte finished. It's just very excellently done. The unfortunate thing about that is it's probably part of why these are more expensive than normal Tomica Limited Vintages. I have to believe it is, because I know printing these boxes and this packaging is not free. So aside from the Ferrari license probably being expensive, or causing this to be expensive, especially because they're getting the Ferrari license like second hand. They're like leasing it basically, I think, from subleasing it from Mei Chong Group. So here's the little components you get in this bag. There's the side mirrors there, and then there is the black top to the car. Again, I'm not going to monkey with that at all. We are going to go ahead though and take the car. So here's the car. It comes in this black thing, caressed by some cellophane. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. This thing is just a gem. Unboxing it feels like it's a gem. I mean, this is packaging, like I said, you either get like an expensive cologne, or like even like maybe a pricey watch could come in something like this. Just not normal for diecast, but I'm sorry, I'm putting the package back together here because the car is going to stay out. And there's the car. So this has been shown again on some other channels, but it still just looks as beautiful. I definitely prefer, I think, this version over the other one that has the hard top and the headlight covers. I think this one does look a little better. The back does open on this one to reveal a very detailed motor. Of course, we get lens detail all around. This one does have suspension, a little bit of it. It does have a metal body, metal base. Oh, man, it's just, look at how clear the windscreen is on that. See how clear that is? That is clear. You will not get that from Greenlight, that's for sure. Or M2. Maybe a little bit from Autoworld. They have some pretty clear glass on their diecast, but not from the other two brands. And it's just, I mean, that's like a little gem. A little gem. Very cool car. Very, very awesome. I'm glad to add this one. So that's going in a display case. Will be on display with the other Ferraris in my diecast room, which someday I will get cleaned up enough to actually show you guys. It will happen, I swear. All right, so then lastly we got 3 Kyosho to look at. And so this is one of them here. This is the Honda CRX. This is from the Honda mini car collection. There you go. It's that one right there with the blue dot on it. Some other cars in that collection. A couple I wouldn't mind having, especially this Honda RA272. I think that would be a really cool one to have. The Civic RS would be pretty cool to have. The NSX would actually be really cool to have, and the Integra. I wouldn't mind having either. So there's a couple in that collection I think would be neat to own. This car in particular was optioned in 3 different colors. So this is one of them in white. It was also available in a red and a blue. All of them are pretty cool looking. Love that two-tone look to the CRX. So here it is. Of course, let's go ahead and unscrew it. Kyosho packaging is awesome. These screws come out like nothing. And there's just one holding the car in, which is excellent. And here it is in white. Now, Kyosho definitely has got like the detail of Tomica Limited Vintage, of course, but it doesn't have, doesn't have suspension. It's got plastic base, not a metal base, but it does have, rubber tires. It does have fairly clear windows and stuff like that, but the interiors typically aren't as detailed. They're usually just black. That's normal, but it does have lens detail. Look at those headlights, look awesome. Little Honda logo there too. And there's the back CRX. That's really cool. I'd like to get the Tomica Limited Vintage CRX to compare it to this one. They did make one in this year. And I think it's still fairly easy to get it. But this little Kyosho is cool. Definitely dig this little car. There's something a little weird about the shape of this one that kind of throws me off, but I think I'd have to see the Tomica just to see how it compares. Something about the greenhouse here. The roof line of the car. So, let me know what you guys think of that one. Pretty awesome. I dig it. And then we've got the next one is from Porsche Collection. This is from Porsche Mini Car Collection version 3, which had some cool cars in it for sure. Here's a look at all the cars that were in it. And then let's take a look at the car. Just pulling it out of the bubble right away. There it is. Also in white. And this car was also available in a Martini livery. Yeah, I want one in a Martini livery. I don't care if it's got the blue spoiler or the white spoiler. That doesn't make any difference to me if it's got more of the blue accent or the white accent, but it would be really cool to get one in Martini livery, so I have to get that at some point to complement this plain white one. So let's take the plain white one off the base here. Again, nice and easy. Take that off and take a peek at it. Pretty awesome. So this bit up here is plastic. Of course, the spoiler bit is plastic. You've got lens covers up there, or headlight covers up in the front. Plastic base, slick wheels, which is appropriate for a race car, and it looks pretty awesome, I must say. And it rolls. It does roll. The wheels are super cool on this. They just look really cool. You get painted detail on the back for the taillights, mainly because they're so tiny. And I don't know, that looks pretty awesome to me. So let me know what you think of that one. All right, now I've actually got to pause it because I forgot. We're going to compare the Auto World Ford Mustang Mach 1 to this one, so I got to pause it and grab that. So hang on one second. All right, so let's take a look at this Mach 1. First, let's pull this one out. So this was available in different colors. It was available in the red, the yellow, and this blue with silver. And the blue with silver one definitely, to me, is the one I wanted. My favorite color for this car is this blue, this silver. So let's take a peek at this first. We're going to pull this off the base. This is in the USA car collection. You guys want to see what else was in that collection quick? Let me grab the box. Definitely want one of those GT40s. I've got one of the Camaros. I think it's the SS is the one I got. I want that Bandit. I've got the yellow one. Dodge Viper, I have that one. Celine looks a little weird to me. I've seen pictures of it. Cobra actually looks really nice too. But anyway, this one is actually a lot nicer looking than I expected. I just think it looks really slick. Look at this thing. The front end looks absolutely great. You do get inserted detail for the headlamps, and there's like a little insert too for the other lights in there as well, the indicators. And then the back, come on, does that not look good? I mean, that looks really good. The wheels look so good. The rims look really, really good. I think overall this car looks excellent. It's got side mirrors, which I could do without. It doesn't really have to have them. Plastic base. So it's got that going, just a plastic base. And then what I've got to compare it to, of course, is the Auto World. This is from Licensed Premium Release 2. This Auto World in blue. It's the closest thing I think I have. Actually, you know what? I do have one in like a metal flake blue too that was more recently put out. But either way, this will be good enough to compare. Now, the Auto World Mach 1 is one of my favorite Auto World castings, and it does look really good. As far as whether which one is in truer 1/64 scale, when you pull this one away, this car looks bigger than this one. To me, in person, it does. But when you actually stack them up next to each other, they are identical in length. Why does this one look bigger? I think it's something to do with the glass in the window right here and how that looks in comparison to this. So like that little curve right there, I don't know, for some reason makes this car look a little bit larger. And then also it's got like this little line right here that you can see, which you can kind of see it on this one, but it's more subtle. I don't know. This is kind of a toss-up. I mean, the Kyosho does look fantastic. It just does look so good. This one is all metal, so it's got that going for it. And then it also has some motor detail underneath the hood with an opening hood. And the hood opens really, really well and all of that. But as far as the front end goes, you have to give it to Kyosho because it's got the lens detail up front. It just seems to look a little bit more detailed. Of course, it's not on the same price point, of course, as the Auto World either. And then there's take a look at the back, too. Now, you Mustang aficionados may say these are different years or something like that. Maybe that's why there's a slight difference in the way the rear end is put together and the way the front end is put together. But if there is, just let me know in the comments below, and maybe that addresses it. From the front, from the top, I'm going to say the Auto World does look a lot better that way. Let's see how flat this looks compared to this, and I think this is probably more scale accurate from the front. But the way the back swoops, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. They both look really, really good, and I'm not super familiar with how the car should look in real life to say one is better or more true to scale than the other one. But both of them, as far as the size-wise goes, they are, like I said, pretty much identical in size, length, width, height, everything in total. So they're both basically 1/64 scale. You couldn't really argue that one of them isn't. This Mach 1 over here does have a wonky tire on the back, as you can see that, which is disappointing, but it still displays nice. I don't know. That's a really nice looking Kyosho. So you guys let me know what you think on that one. All right, so that's going to finally be it for this episode. Glad to finally share all this stuff with you. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you stuck around to the end, thank you very, very much. And again, as I said at the beginning, or before we just went into this second half of the video, let me know what you think about that idea of possibly changing the format of these videos and what you think about that. I would appreciate your feedback. I really would. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Again, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please drop me a comment. Please check out my sponsor, MassCarDisplays.com. Enter the promo code CHAMPION for 10% off your order. Those displays will fit larger castings such as these Mach 1s. And yeah, really cool, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good day.